Hi, boomers. Well, do I have a treat for you today? One of my special friends, Sandy Parker, is going to talk with us today. She's someone with um, who always makes me feel happy when I talk to her, and I think you'll enjoy her as well. Sandy, welcome to this boomer life.
Boy, isn't it a fantastic boomer life?
It's pretty good.
I know. I love the name of your show and I love being on it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. Well, Sandy, I know you've had just a fabulous background in the arts and in as a speaker. Could you just tell us a little about what the highlights of your background and what you've enjoyed the most?
Yeah, let me see here. The thing that I'm so grateful for is that I have had serendipities that sort of guided me from one train to the next train to the next train. So I went to University of Georgia. I was going to be a Spanish teacher, but I ended up going to work for an ad agency and covering the Southeast for beautiful condominiums in magazines like
Ooh,
Travel and Leisure, you know, yummy magazines. Then I moved to Dallas and I covered the territory for Southern Living, Yummy Magazine, Vogue, and, just had the most wonderful career. And then I was turning 39, I think. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've totally forgotten to get married. Like, I have this,
I just forgot.
I mean, where did the time go? And I always wanted to have a baby, but I thought so I got off the road with Southern Living and I went to work for my church, which was Highland Park Methodist Church, as the communication director. And it's a really big church. So I published the newspaper and I have graphic skills and I created bulletins and I did the recording I got a lot of good experience there. And that took me sort of on the church train. I ended up working for the North Texas Conference and then the Northwest Texas Conference. And so I had a really meaningful application of my skills, right? It was this kind of the same skills, people skills, art skills, and working with, just beautiful people. Then I became a youth minister to subsidize my income. And I met my husband online. This was at AOL, believe it or
Oh
not.
my, back in the olden days.
I know this was in I told my grandkids I'm older than Google. And they're like, no way. In fact, I wrote an ad. I think it's funny. It tells you a lot about me. It says, Delta Burke's Looks with Roseanne Barr's sense of humor is looking for John Goodman's heart with John Goodman's body with Michael Landon's heart.
Oh,
Must be 6 feet or taller, 40 or older, and willing to start a family and live in Dallas. So I got this message from Rodney. It says, how does 36, 5'10 Lubbock sound? And I said, like you can't read. he didn't need any of the measures at all. So anyway, it was my true love. So we ended up getting married and I moved to Levelland where he was the high school band director
oh my.
in the middle of nowhere with two daughters, 10 and 14. Then we had a most beautiful little baby, Taylor Parker, and she's now 27. But so that started another train of family life and society. And it was funny because everybody said, why would you move to Levelland from Dallas? I said, my dreams are coming true here. It was like Mayberry. So they were like, well, there's nothing fun to do here. And I said, you know what? I'm going to become the fun lady. I'm officially declaring myself the Lubbock fun lady.
I bet you were
And
fabulous at that.
well, and I just, this was now in the 94-ish, right? So there weren't emails going out every Thursday and there weren't websites. So I created a website called the Lubbock Fun Club, and you could be a member for free. And we went from 0 members to 14,000 members in a year and a half.
My gosh.
It was just wild. I go, follow me to the fun. I had a big van that said, follow me to the fun. So anyway, that was another train. So then, when you're a band director's wife, you move from town to town. So every town I went to, I reinvented myself by what fit that town.
You looked
So
for what was needed and wanted, and then you fulfilled. Oh,
there's a
I
quote I
admire that.
like. I know it's my favorite quote. It's like, don't ask the world what the world needs. Ask yourself what you need to come alive and go do that. Because what people really need, what the world really needs, is more people who come alive.
Ah,
So that's really what I did. And so then I ended up in the Austin area, and we met, I think, in Wisdom and Landmark, and which fit that whole idea for me of you can either create your life or live
right.
out the one you inherited.
Yes.
Which brings me to the fourth trait, right? So it was just like life just sort of guided me from one place to the other. So crazy great life. And my husband passed away 4 years ago, and I have a new true love.
I'm
Well, I'm
so
gonna move
thrilled for
again.
I'm so thrilled for you.
Thank you. So
And
it's
he's
just
and he's involved in the sort of the same spiritual direction that you've been going in, right?
yeah. So what he didn't say, we met online also, and what he didn't say was that he was a Methodist pastor.
But that wouldn't have deterred you.
I would have given it second thought. I don't think I'm. I don't think I'm really the pastor's wife type.
Well,
Like the.
but Sandy Parker, I was a pastor's wife.
I learned that.
So between the two of us, you know,
Watch out.
we changed the paradigm.
Yeah. Well, then the beautiful thing is I asked Steve, what he expected of a pastor's wife. And it was to be supportive of him and live my own life. Well, I can deal with that. So here now, I'll be moving to Bowie, population 2,000. And, there's a Bible verse. I don't know the verse, but it says, perhaps I've been prepared for a time such as this.
Oh, Esther, Queen Esther.
I feel like having lived in small towns and had a beautiful life, I can do that here too. And we didn't have Zoom back then.
Yep. And Zoom will during the pandemic, Zoom made all the difference for us.
It still makes one. I was just reading yesterday the global trends on wellness. It's a summit report that comes out every year. The number one trend for well-being is dealing with loneliness. And I heard someone say the other day, we have this idea that there's an overabundance of information, but an underabundance of connection.
Mm,
People really still need people.
right.
I don't feel limited in terms of my connections, but I really have come to value that in my life.
Yes, me too. And I have to say that Zoom has made a big difference for me. Just that I don't want to put myself at risk of my health, but I do want to connect. And I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of us. I'm hoping to start a online group this
awesome.
year called the Boomer Zoomers.
I'm in. Well, when I was a new widow, they did the hospice care on Zoom, and the 6 women whose husbands all died at the same time as mine have met every Monday for 4 years from 9 to 10. And we have survived together, our husband's death, the pandemic, what to do when my TV goes out, how to replace the car. I mean, we really supported each other. So I think it's getting to the point now where we need to be responsible for our own connection, because we just hope to have the best batch of friends next door because people all in all in different places. So I really like the idea of being responsible for our connections and having, like you, I stay in touch with you because you're so valuable to me.
Oh, Sandy Parker, I just love you.
Thank you.
Well, tell us a little about what you're up to now, in addition to a new romance.
Yeah, well, in wisdom, I heard them say, "What's knocking at you? What's knocking at your door that you would open, and it would take you where your passion really is?" And I didn't know it at the time, but I see looking back that I've always felt able to create or generate life as I wanted it to be. I didn't feel like a victim. I didn't feel like I got left this and I had to live like that. So I what I got was that we're all creators. And what I want people to know is they are a creator and they can create their life. That they're a powerful creator. And so go create the life you want. It's a beautiful life, but also, Rodney wanted to live so much. He fought to live. And I wake up every day just getting to live.
Yes.
So if I'm going to get that day, why not make that day my way instead of just living out what I inherited because it's better my way?
Gotcha. Well, one of the things I appreciate is that you introduced me to some products that just make me feel better.
Well, let me tell you, I heard a quote by Tony Robbins that said, "People who have their health have 1,000 wishes. People who don't only have one."
Mm,
And as much as I'd like everybody to have a sunshiny mood, it isn't always that way, right?
right.
And what we're learning now is biologically, our mood and our motivation and our wellness is really depends on not only our gut, but our well being. So I've sided up with a team called Amare, and I was told about this juice called Happy Juice. And I thought, oh, that's so crazy. There can't be such a thing that makes you happy. And I went to the convention and I tried it. And I'm like, you know what? I drink my Happy Juice every morning. I used to waddle to the coffee pot. Now I might get halfway through the coffee and then go, "Where's my Happy Juice?" Because well-being that can be affected by some beautiful products like the Triangle of Health, or mood and motivation that can be affected by a wonderful drink, which helps me get my water in. I'm thinking I'm up for not only what helps people create their life, but live a well life and a happy
Yes.
life. And why not?
Well, and I appreciate that you shared about that with me, because I have my happy juice every day.
You
I
do?
I do.
Cool.
Um, and I take the triangle of health products, and I find that I am in less pain and I'm just happier. So I'm very grateful for that. And
It's funny. I remember that day when Mary Louise said to you, she's a friend of mine, she said, "I had no idea you had pain." She just asked you, "Well, how's your well being?" And you go, "Well, this." And I'm like, I'm sitting on a solution that I'm just forget to share.
yeah,
And then she said, "Oh, you got to do the Triangle of Health." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's being kind of bold with my friend." But really, and the Happy Juice, I heard you say, I don't know what's working, but I went to water aerobics.
yes, I did start going to water aerobics after I started drinking the happy juice.
So
Now,
I was like, something's working.
yeah, well, it's like I think, oh, well, maybe I would just feel this way anyway, except it would be pretty big coincidence.
Yeah.
Just given the number of years I've suffered with arthritis and some other physical things, not unlike a lot of other people our age, who
Yeah.
when you start feeling more decrepit, you know, and it gets harder to get yourself up and out. And so it's like, well, okay, happy juice. So what I've invented for this podcast is Boomers Love Happy Juice.
All right.
And so people that are interested in that can click on boomerslovehappyjuice.com, and you can go and find out about these products because they're clearly we love them.
Well, and the thing about it is, back to the life we get to live. Nobody
Yes,
really wants to be in pain, right? Nobody wants to be barely moving. And getting older doesn't mean becoming, hunched over and not doing anything.
right.
There's so many now, and I used to be suspicious, like, oh, if my doctor didn't give it to me, it's nothing. Well, we're seeing now the whole shift in the paradigm of medical care, and everybody cares about all natural, right? No cruelty to animals, all those benefits that come from the botanicals, which cultures have been using botanicals for years. We've just been a little bit snobbish about it. I think oils was the closest we got to, right, nature has a way, and nutrition. But so if I feel better, I'm going that way. And then
Well,
yesterday,
right.
the other thing I read last night, the global trend report, the number sixth item was learning about the difference between white and brown fat. And then
Yes,
it's a health trend. Like it's number six health trend. I never heard about it.
really.
So that
Well,
same company, Amari, just launched a product that addresses white and brown fat, so that it used to be, we felt like it was a math equation, right? So many calories in, so many exercise out equals the life I get. It's
right.
not true. It's like where you store fat. And so there, anyway, I don't want to get scientific because I'm not a scientist, but I lost 200 pounds the hard way.
I tell you what, that I think gives you the ability to speak to the issue.
Well, and I still have fat that I can't get rid of no matter what. So what they're saying now is the new science on belly fat and stored fat now really means people in their 90s can live like they're their 40s.
Ooh,
So it's a brand new trend. It just is so crazy how my life, again, serendipity just swims up the shore, some beautiful things and beautiful people. So I am still teaching classes on creativity. I
oh,
still do workshops on creativity.
how
But,
great.
but in my workshop, I give everybody a stick of energy and edge, which helps them
Yeah.
focus and be motivated. And of course, no wonder they love me, right?
Well, now I heard that Amare is also coming out with some skincare products.
You know what? This is so crazy because my mother was a Mary Kay lady. And
Ah,
so I heard every day, I'm like, you need moisture, no, you need that. Blah, blah, blah. Well, the thing about the skincare that Amari came out with is it's producing collagen from the inside out. So you do a serum on your face, and then you do sprays of collagen. It's a precursor that helps your body create its own collagen.
you know, I really will have to try that because one of the conditions I have is collagen disorder.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah. It's one reason why I don't have too many wrinkles on my face for my age. Is just that uh the collagen doesn't work the ordinary way for me.
Wow.
So, I, I mean, so that I'm not very wrinkly is sort of the upside, but the downside is I have to have another knee replacement in April. So
Collagen's super important, and I'm going to have a knee replacement this year also. Although I had my hip replaced and it went swimmingly,
Yay.
but collagen is one of those things. Your bones, your muscles, your skin. Your skin's your largest organ. Your body depends on that, for well-being. Well, so my girlfriend Diana, she bought some of the skincare. She's a health and beauty influencer, and she's gorgeous at 80 years old. She bought some at the convention, and she's been using it every day, and she's looking better. Like, I don't
Oh,
know how you could look
yes.
better. So I just ordered some, and my girlfriend and Bowie, I said, let's do it together. Let's do it like every day for 30 days and see if we can do it before and after. So I get mine tomorrow,
Woohoo.
and then I'm going to try it. So I'll be keeping you posted because, I'm a little, I just want to see if it'll make a
Well,
difference.
I mean, check it out for yourself.
Well, you've got to do something. I'm not using any serum or any moisturizer or anything like that. And Bowie is a little drier than Austin. So it's just, if you can be healthy, feel beautiful and light. Health Beauty Light is the name of our podcast. And if you can feel good and live your great life, then I say do it all.
Well, that's hard to argue with, Sandy.
I will say that there is a skepticism in the air. We've been through something. The last years, there's a high anxiety in the world. People are more distant from ever. So there's a little bit of a cynical edge. Maybe I should say cynical, like, I don't know if I should never. But if we walk along without knowing that about ourselves, then we're adrift.
Ah,
And one of the first principles of creative activation is the ability to detect drift. If you can't detect where you're just living out a pattern, you can't alter it.
I've never heard that before.
Thank you. I made it up.
Well,
Actually, I probably heard it from somebody in Landmark where they said, it always amazed me how they would say, this is the point in the seminar where you start to feel like this.
uh-huh.
And I always go, I don't feel like that. And then I go, maybe I do. Maybe I am getting a little doing it this way, the same way I always do it. And they would ask you, normally, how do you do seminars? I go, I start up and then a bang, and then I sort of,
Yeah. Then there's a kind of a slump. Yeah.
So he goes, that is my drift. My drift is start strong and go down. So if I can't detect my drift, I can't alter it.
Well, Sandy, if people were interested in your creative activation classes, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can go to my website, creativeactivationinstitute.com. They can do an online cohort with other people. They can do an online class. I just was certified for a company called Be a Disciple, where they're going to host my online classes so people can do it at their leisure.
Oh, Sandy,
Or,
congratulations.
thank you. Or they can hire me to come. Actually, on the 16th, I'm going back to a company for the second time where I worked with their outside sales team the first time, and now I'm coming back for their customer service agents. Because the first thing that happens when you activate your creativity is you invest and engage in your own life because you feel empowered to do something. You're not a victim, and you're your own director of your life. So people seem to get going more and have more energy. And so it's been really awesome. It's my calling. I love it. And I'll coach people from time to time, but I'm not as much a coach every week as I am let's do a 4-week class and then you take it from there. Because once you have a few skills, you can do it yourself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So people can reach you through your website, creativeactivationinstitute.com.
They can also send me an email, sparkercan@gmail.com, because I'm Sandy Parker, Sparker can. And then I love that. And then my phone number, 254-592-8067. You can text me anytime, day or night. I am a firm stand that you know yourself to be a powerful creator and you create your life powerfully.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, Sandy, the question I usually ask everybody at the end of an interview is to just say a few words about their spiritual journey. And you've touched on that. Did you start off in a Methodist family as a girl?
I did. My spiritual life was mostly affected by the sound of music. When I saw the sound of music, I thought you can be a spiritual person and a mother and a singer. I mean, I just patterned my hopes after that. And I was actually really sad I couldn't be a nun because I wasn't Catholic. So be a nun, but I want to be devoted to life, right? And so while I was in the church, I decided that I actually want to know what I believe. And so I studied the Baha'i faith, I studied the Hindu faith, I studied and read all the different ones. And I thought, I'm going to stay with the Christian faith. And at the time, I really liked the Methodist faith because it was the most inclusive.
Yes.
I'm a everybody belongs person. There's not a type of person that doesn't belong in my world. And I'm a big reader of Richard Rohr, who wrote, Everything Belongs. And I just created my own version of the Christian faith that seems to function all right in mainstream, but it gives me my moral compass in what I want my life to be like.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Sandy, I just want to acknowledge you for your being such a strong woman of faith and such a kind person and so great in reaching out to provide um, whatever is missing for people. And I just love that about you. And so on behalf of baby boomers everywhere, I want to acknowledge you and thank you.
Well, on behalf of baby boomers everywhere, my dogs are about to bark at the guy at the door. But listen, it's a celebration in my house. But I want to say, this is your life. Go live it. Dogs are not, front door or not, perfect or not. Imperfect action is the way to get the life you want.
All right. That's it for today, baby boomers. This is your life. Go live it.
Amen.
Thank you, Sandy Parker.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, boomers. Welcome back. Wasn't that fun to have a conversation with Sandy Parker? I just love her. So here's what I think is the biggest takeaway from our conversation together. And that was, I wrote it down. The first thing that happens when you activate your creativity is you invest and engage in your own life because you feel empowered. So if you have an interest in Sandy Parker's creative empowerment course, let's see, she calls it creative activation. You can find her classes and her consulting work on www.creativeactivationinstitute.com. You can contact her at sparker@gmail.com. And the other thing I just want to remind you is Sandy is a guru in health, beauty, wellness, and she and I together, we're like on the same team. We sell happy juice. It keeps us happy, healthy, and pretty much on the go. So if you have some interest in finding out about these vitamin and protein and power packed, probiotic packed superfoods, go to boomerslovehappyjuice.com. Okay, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.